to another brand new episode here on 1950's Farm. How are you all doing? Hopefully you're having a good day. My day not going too bad. Bit of a late start today, so we, as many of you will know that watch the channel regular, I have my computer in the living room, and on occasions I'm recording this on the 8th of May, and this morning the lady of the house said to me, "I'm watching the parade in the living room today, so you'll have to just not be doing any recording. Thank you." That was that. So we're starting a little bit late today, but it's not a problem. As I've said before, you know, you just have to kind of go with it and accept it, and we're cracking on, and we're getting done now. So yeah, a bit later today, but yeah. So I hope you all enjoyed the 2 videos that I put out for the VE Day celebrations. I always use the word celebration quite lightly. Yes, we're celebrating the fact that the war has ended, but you know, I in my own mind, I kind of sort of think to myself, yeah, but so many people died. Should we really celebrate that? You know, we should be thankful and give thanks. Of course, we should. You know, but so it's always kind of a bit mixed for me. And I'll tell you the other thing as well. Watching the Royals parade around in their medals alongside people that experienced untold suffering and misery and just downright, you know, what's the closest thing they've ever got to battle? You know, a horse going a little bit wild at a polo match. I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me. But anyway, as I say, we're busy today, as you can see, cutting the grass, getting the hay done. So we'll be doing hay this time around, and then later on in the year, usually around sort of October, November time, we'll be doing the silage. But we'll get it all cut in this episode, and hopefully as well, we might, if there's time, get it tedded as well, and then we will begin in earnest. Although we can use course play to ted the field, so we might in the next episode do the tedding, rowing and baling all in one episode, and we will be doing round bales as well, not the small square bales. They you know, it's okay to do them, but I can't find a baler that was around in the 1950s, or what's close to what was being used by the dairy in the 1950s. The one that I did find, yes, I sort of did it for an episode just to kind of show, you know, the sort of work roughly that was involved in handling the small square traditional bales. But that baler was pointed out by a viewer, which was absolutely right. You know, there was no bale thrower in those days. They came much later, but as I say, I just couldn't find a baler with a chute, because that's what would have been used. It would have been a chute, and I'm guessing it would have either been a chute long enough to get it to the trailer, or on the floor, and then another tractor and trailer would go by, and then men would just then throw the bales up, and there'll be a man on top of the trailer stacking. So that's the kind of sort of scene that Ray has put towards me, and sort of given me in my mind. Now this will be different, you know, probably not only in different parts of the UK, but across the world as well. So you know, it's important that when I sort of say these things, I'm not necessarily talking about you know, things that went on in America, because it's hard for me to know everything that went on, as much as I do my research, as much as you know, I sort of as I say, do my research and try and get everything factually correct. Sometimes it isn't possible, and sometimes it is just a little bit easier to use Ray and sort of say to him, look, this is the job I'm doing today. You know, what was it like in the UK? Do you think that would have been something similar that would have been done, you know, in the Midwest in America? you know, in the 1950s, and you know, Ray sort of says, yeah, I think, I don't think it would be too different from the way we did it. And then at the jobs, he sort of says, well, I'd look that up if I was you, because you know, there are many different ways that you know, a particular job could be done, and he would say, look it up, because, you know, whilst in the UK we choose this way, elsewhere in the world they might choose another way. So yeah, it's, as I say, it's it's sometimes hard to kind of get the two to marry up. So looking back a little bit over the series, one of the sort of in the beginning, in the early days, one of the big comments that I got on a lot of videos from a lot of different people was they really enjoyed the history, they really enjoyed the I guess the history. I was going to say knowledge, but the history of farming in the US in the 1950s, and everything that was kind of sort of going on around that, in terms of the incentives, in terms of, you know, different things and bits and pieces. And I kind of, it's not that I've moved away from it. It literally comes down to time. Funnily enough, a very close friend of mine that I've, you know, been fortunate to make through the YouTube channel, had been helping me with one of my VE Day videos. So my VE Day short that I did was actually done by Andrew and his daughter, and you know, they when we were sort of discussing afterwards, I watched the video and really loved it, and I hope everyone else enjoyed it too. And as I say, I put it up onto YouTube, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on the channel, or at least it is at the time of recording this. And as I say, it's a really well put together video, and I'm very, very pleased with it. I was, you know, delighted. It was unexpected, if I'm honest, but honestly it was a beautifully cut together video, and I was, you know, really pleased with it, really proud of it, really proud to have it on my channel, you know, because as I say, they both took you know, quite a long time to cut that video together, and as I say, it really is a good video, so please go check it out. But one of the things that sort of happened, we were talking about it afterwards, and he came back to me and he said, you know, that video is like 3 minutes long. It took nearly 5 hours to do. And I said, I know. I said, you know, and I try to do, most days I try to do 2 videos a day, and the reason why, you know, sort of the history lessons doesn't happen as regularly as what I would like them to do, and as well yourselves would probably like them to do. It's literally time. It's literally the, you know, the amount of time that it takes me to, you know, to do 2 ordinary videos. I mean, for example, when I do Sunny Side Up, you know, and again, I'm not very good at editing, and again, I'm not, you know, probably very good at doing YouTube videos in general, you know, so like, you know, so I accept that, but in terms of you know, sort of editing and stuff like that, it does take a while, and I do try to keep it as fresh and as new and as interesting as I can, and but it is difficult. You know, it is difficult. It is a challenge, and it's right that it should be, because at the end of the day, I don't expect anything for anything. Everything I get, I expect to work for and expect to be difficult and hard and a challenge. But in terms of doing the history and the research and things like that, I've been very, very lucky to find some very good help, and I'm hoping that between the two of us, we will be able to get back to, you know, not every video, but just perhaps 1 video a month, or, you know, whatever. We will do you know, some new things. Now My guess is that at the time of recording this, and at the time of this, well, at the time of recording it, it definitely hasn't happened, but by the time this goes out, I'm guessing that there won't be the video put up. So I'm hoping and planning. I'm very close to getting ready to record the first episode. I'm hoping there's going to be a new FS25 series, if not of the week that this is being released, then over the next week or two. It's in planning. I've done probably about, I don't know, 40-50 hours on the map in question to make absolutely sure. I've run the playthrough through to make sure that yes, it's enjoyable, yes, it makes a video, yes, there's enough there for a series. I want to go back and revisit another series that I did and actually finish it this time, but as I say, just time and as well, I mean, to kind of not say too much, because I don't want people to sort of turn off or say, oh, for goodness sake, but my mental health over the last sort of few months has not been fantastic, it's not been brilliant, and there have been quite a few times when I've been really down and I've struggled and I've found it hard to get motivated. Still put the videos out even though I find some of them really hard to record, and so therefore things did get sort of forgotten, pushed back, and what have you, which I regret, of course. But at the end of the day, it's fairly well known from the channel and from some of the videos and the mental health video that I did, sort of 2 weeks ago, that I do suffer from from mental health and anxieties and a fear of being sort of inferior and sort of that sort of stuff, and as I say, anxieties as well, and so a lot of things did get sort of pushed aside and sort of it's a waste of time, no one's watching, no one's this, that, and getting really sort of kind of beating myself up, but over the last sort of month, maybe 2 months, I've been taking really positive steps and working very closely again with a couple of people that when this sort of thing sort of happens and strikes in my life, I work very closely with these two people, and they're usually able to pull me out of it and to get me on the other side and to get me sort of motivated and going again, and through going out, through driving to places that I don't feel comfortable in driving to, through doing things that I don't necessarily want to do or think I'm capable of doing, but through doing those things, my sort of self-confidence and self-belief is coming back, and a corner has definitely been turned, and we once again we look like we're sort of on a path of direction rather than a path of just mental chaos and disorder, and I don't that I hate that. Anyone that sort of knows me sort of personally knows that I like to know what's coming when it's coming. I like to be not necessarily in control of everything, but I do like to know, for example, I have the same thing on any given weekday night for tea every week. So Monday is pie, Tuesday is usually sausages, Wednesday can be either pie or I don't know, but within a couple of things on a Wednesday is a little bit more freer, but as I say, Thursdays is usually salad and jacket potato and stuff like that, and I like that. I like that order. I like that kind of nothing's a surprise. I know what's coming, and therefore I don't need to mentally prepare myself because I already know it's going to happen. And and that's what I like. And going out racing, of course, breaks the weekends one. And I'm also trying to find things to do in the week now that breaks that as well, so that I become less reliant on everything being the same day in, day out. Because as I say, that's how I like it. I like everything to be the same. I like when I'm doing my GP. You know, it's an understanding between us. My appointment is exactly the same time and exactly the same day of every week. So I know it's coming. I know, I know what's happening. I mean, occasionally there has to be a little bit of variation, or I think what sometimes happens is that they know they can't fulfil that time slot, but they give me it anyway, and then sort of say, oh, we're really sorry we were held up today or whatever. I think sometimes that is what happens, but in general, as I say, I sort of know when things are coming, and I am trying to get out of that. So normally, uh, you know, I would record my YouTube videos at the same time every morning. I would sit in front, but as I say, I've been working very closely over the last couple of months to get out of this, and hence today, it's now 2:15, I think. Yeah, 2:15 in the afternoon, and I've just started recording. Now, a few weeks ago, this would throw me right out. I just wouldn't be able to talk. I wouldn't be able to, just do anything. Because it would be completely wrong. It's not in its time slot, and 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 whilst I sort of accept that I take it too far, I think this is what is wrong with a lot of the youngsters today. They don't have a routine. When I was a young lad growing up, routine was part of growing up at home. Tea was at this time, dinner was at this time, you did homework at this time, you went out and played at this time, between from this time to this time, and then you did your homework. Then it was a bath or a shower, then it was bed, and everything had a routine and an order. And because everything had a routine and an order, and because as four boys, we kind of accepted that. Well, I mean, we had no choice, but I think we kind of accepted it. And probably, if we were, to speak frankly about it, probably we appreciated it, because as adults now, certainly for myself, and I've sort of been in um, relationships where the person that I'm with, their child or children, or whatever it is, doesn't have a routine, and they're very unruly, and and uh, and I do sort of kind of think to myself, it's because you don't have a routine. It's because you don't have nothing to, in a way, conform to. You're just left to run free, and in a way run wild, and that's what you do. You do that in everything. Whereas me personally, when last year my little boy came to me, got sort of dumped on my doorstep by his mother, uh, declared didn't want him. One of the first things I started to do was to put in place a routine. Right, we're getting up at this time, we're going to bed at this time, we're eating our meal at this time, we're having lunch at that time. This time of the day is for this, this time of the day is for this. And then when you're at school, you have your routines at school, which I don't interfere with. And I went and spoke very closely with the school and said that I want him to have a structured routine throughout the day, so that he knows what's coming when it's coming. And within the space of probably about 6 weeks, I went from having quite an unruly kind of free-spirited, I'm doing what I want when I want little boy, to having a little boy that actually would come to me and say, Dad, or it's this time, we do this now. And it was, bedtime would come, and he'd say, right, Dad, it's my bedtime, I have to go to bed. And as I say, within a few weeks, we were working closely with the school, and that all changed. And I believe that that's what youngsters need. And I believe that if you're going to try and instill discipline into them, the first thing you need to do is give them a routine, give them a structure to their day every day. Because when they then get older, work will be at this time, getting up will be this time, and it prepares them for that. It's, well, okay, your routine now is that you're going to get up at this time of the day, you're going to be out of the door, you go to work at this time. When I was working on the farm, I had a very, very, very strict routine, and yeah, some of the lads did take the mick and what have you. I don't care. That's how I operate. That's how my day functions, and that's how you're able to get the best out of me, because that's the way it is. So it's all about kind of balancing that now, though, as an adult, and saying, yes, it's good to have order, it's good to have routine, it's good to be in control of something, but sometimes that isn't necessarily possible, and you need to be in a position where, for me myself, you can cope with that. But as I say, so I do think it is very and now that he's back living with his mum and there's no routine, apparently it's chaos again. And and I just sort of think, well, get on with it, because it yeah, anyway, I'm not going to say anything about it because it really does wind me up and upset me. But yeah, so that's what I think. But anyway, we're going to crack on. We're going to get this mode. We're going to switch over to a little bit of time lapse. It's not a chatty video because we've had quite a lot of those on the channel over the last couple of 3 weeks. So we're going to get on. We're going to get this mode, and then we're going to get it tedded, and then we'll get it rowed as well, and then we'll get it baled. And as I say, we're going to round bale it, and hopefully that should be quite a success, and we won't leave too much behind. And then once we've done that, obviously we will then have to collect them. Now, whether I do that on camera or whether I do that off camera, I'm not sure yet. I might do some of it on camera, but most of it not. And then, as I say, we're then into getting this land slurried and getting it fertilised and prepared, ready for when we harvest our silage off here in the autumn, and other jobs that we'll have to do on the farm. We've still got the animals to look after. We'll have to also as well do some fertilising and some spraying, and the soybeans could do with some weeding, and as to could the cotton. So we'll do them. There aren't no weeds in there at the moment, but I don't want there to be weeds. Now, I'm fairly certain that if there was going to be weeds in those crops, they would have already started to come through, and I think a couple of the fields actually, if I remember correctly, did say small weeds growing. So we'll get the hoe out, and we'll go and hoe them, and then hopefully that will be the crops looked after. But that's not all going to be in this one episode. That's what's coming up on the channel over the next few weeks, and then by the top, before we know it, sort of June, July time, we'll be here and we'll be harvesting again. So we've got quite a bit to get on with, and as I say, we'll over the next couple of episodes we'll certainly get on with it. But now I'm going to switch over to a little bit of time lapse, a little bit of music, and we'll get this done, and hopefully we should maybe even get it baled, depending on the time, because I don't want the video to go on forever and ever. So I'll see you in a bit. Bye for now.
So high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world but keep the sky on your mind.
Right, so we're back. So we're pretty much halfway, I would say just about halfway, maybe a little over halfway through this field now. So it's gone fairly well. We've also got the other one, as you saw, mowed as well. So we've got that done, and then that can be, I'll probably do that one off camera, which is no problem. And then, as I say, we're well on the way to some of the work today being completed, which is good. And yeah, it's going fairly well. So I'll say that again. I'll say it in English this time. We should be a long way towards getting that hay barn filled up again. As I say, there'll be a sort of 50-50 divide between what we sort of use and then what the new ranch that we've started supplying will use. So the plan with the hay is the same as the silage. So what the plan was or will be for this year, because I will make sure this year that the plan is followed, because it kind of, well, I made a mistake and I've not been able to rectify it yet, but I will do. By the time winter comes around again, will have rectified the mistake. So the plan was that we're now coming out of winter, obviously, and obviously we're now hay baling. So the plan was that when we came out of winter and we got our hay done and it was in the barn and we could start feeding it to our cows, any silage that we got left we would sell to the new ranch, and that would then thus empty the pit and meant that we wouldn't have silage in there through the year. And then when we got to winter and we were, we'd got our silage fermented and we were moving over to that for our winter feed, any hay bales that we'd got left, we were then going to take over to the ranch, and they were going to then sort of utilise them hay bales in whatever way they found fit. But as everyone knows, I messed up last winter because in probably around sort of December, January time, it came round that the animals needed feeding. The silage was ready to go in, and without thinking, and I suppose through habit and just it's what I'd been doing sort of every time before that, I went straight to the hay barn, filled the troughs up with hay in both cow barns, and of course I had nowhere then to put my silage. So I messed up a little. Well, not a little bit. I messed up a lot. But as I say, by the time we get round to winter this year, I will have sorted that out and solved that. So it's a bit of a disaster for the winter just gone, but it won't be too bad for for the winter that's coming. So we'll get back into the swing of it, and that's what we'll do. But yeah, so let's say I'm probably going to leave it here for this episode, just because I don't want the episode to go on for a lifetime, because I have noticed that a lot of my episodes now are creeping back up towards sort of 50-55 minutes to an hour, and then the mental health one was an hour and 20 minutes, which I'm fine with that one being that long, because there was quite a bit to talk about and discuss, so that's fine. But in general, I'm going to try and, if I can, get the episode times back down to roughly sort of anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes, somewhere in that time frame. Should be more manageable and may help to just push views a little bit, because I sort of was looking at it the other day and I thought, there was probably 5, 6, 7 videos in a row of sort of 48-50 minutes, and I thought, would I sit and watch someone's channel with them length of videos over? And the thing is, I think if you've been watching that channel for a few years, I think probably you would, but as I say, I just sort of thought, no, we need to get that down a bit. So as I say, this video from has sort of kind of gone on, and as I say, I want to try and shorten them down, try and do some things, try and improve. Anything that you guys out there in YouTube land can think of that you could put in the comments that may help me, that suggestions or whatever, and just sort of like and comment to the video anyway. Also as well, if you enjoy my content, if you enjoy what I do, like I said at the beginning of the episode, if you haven't seen them already, go check out my VE Day sort of celebration videos. The sort of 4-minute video that I did was I tried to sort of in my own way bring the first half or the sort of first half of that video is the hell that must have been the battlefields all over Europe, and then the second half of that video was peace, and we should work hard to try and keep it, not only as a world and nations, but as people as well. It's that old saying that life's too short, and as I say, it's very nice that every now and again we have these celebrations and we do have these reminders, of the things that people did, for us, and the sacrifices they made. So like I say, if you haven't checked them out, go check them out. I think you'll enjoy them. I hope you'll enjoy them anyway. And as I say, if you like the channel, like the different sort of content that I do, then why not consider subscribing. It's free to do, and it really does help me. It really does help the channel, and it's always gives me a nice big smile for a few minutes every time a subscriber comes in. And as I say, just of late, with all the shorts that we've been doing and different things, and this is coming from people that have private messaged me that are quite big YouTubers, and most of them actually, funnily enough, are not farming sim YouTubers either. So without naming them, because they've asked not to be named on the channel, but they know who they are. But as I say, one of the persons that have got in touch with me has got 13.5 million subscribers, so I kind of sort of took it that he probably knows what he's talking about. And I've started to implement within the channel a couple of the suggestions and changes that he's recommended, and that has now been about a month now that I've been doing that. The month previous I had 3 subscribers, and this at the end of this month, of me doing a complete month of me doing and following all of the changes that he's sort of told me to make, and this month has gone much better because we've had 43 subscribers this month. So it's going, it's coming, and we're working towards, and I'm always looking to improve, and I'm always looking, and I'm always open to ideas and suggestions. It's free to subscribe, but it's also free for me to listen and to take note and take advice, and and I really appreciate it. And as I say, a massive shout out to that person. As I say, they're not a farm sim YouTuber. They do general computer games. So they do sort of Sniper Elite 5. They do Call of Duty. They do Assassin's Creed. They basically just do any massive title that gets released through the year. Doesn't matter what the game is, fantasy, horror, like I say, war-based games, whatever. And it's a channel that I've been watching for many years, and I sort of clicked on and was watching, and then after watching one of his videos and commenting and what have you, and I was absolutely shocked when I had an email from him, and he'd sort of said what he'd said, and it really was yeah, it was really nice, and it was a real big boost. And as I say, in the first month of sort of listening to him, taking his advice, and what have you, and one of the other sort of comments and suggestions that he's made is, maybe shorten down the videos a little bit. Ironically, he does between an hour and 2 hour videos of game playing, but he's very good. He's very listenable, and he's been sort of giving me little tips and help with editing and different things like that. So I'm really, really grateful. So yeah, as I say, so hopefully it's going to work, and hopefully you enjoyed it. But anyway, that's enough rabbiting from me. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye for now.